Let's say you caught a fish, cut it in half, and dumped it in the ocean. By some miracles, it survived and the wound healed with this weird fin-like structure. Well, that is a sunfish, also known as mola mola. When it hatches from its egg, it kinda looks like the sun, and that's not the reason it's called sunfish. Since they're related to pufferfish, that spiky shape makes sense. As soon as they hatch, they start eating, or they will die. A lot of them die within a few moments of birth because of this reason. Those who make it, well, they drift with the current and keep eating small plankton on the go. Within 6 weeks, they transform into a somewhat fish-like shape. And they keep eating too. Now the body starts to squeeze more and more. And after a few months of continuous grazing, they change into 5-centimeter juvenile, shaped almost like the adult ones. Now the growth expands exponentially. Their main food source is small fish or jellyfish. Well, they don't get much nutrition from that diet, but they keep munching. Within a few years, they turn from a few grams creatures to over 2,000-pound giants. That's gaining around 2 pounds every day. Their speed decreases to 2 miles per hour, and around 40 parasites make them their home. Well, they have parasites everywhere, in their mouth, gills, skin, and liver, and they are too slow to shake those off. They dive deep in cold water to eat jellyfish, and come to the surface and lie flat for sunbathing, or to get rid of those parasites. The birds eat parasites and the sun gives warmth. This is the reason they're called sunfish. But they suck even at that. If they stay too long, they will get sunburn and damage their skin. Also, if fishermen catch them by mistake, they will just throw them back to the ocean. They don't have much meat content, so even the fishermen hate them. These pancakes are so slow that they can't fend off predators or take sharp turns. So predators usually eat them while moving. They're too big to eat in one go, so they eat a chunk of their body and leave. And it still doesn't die. It still feeds on jellyfish continuously. A normal ocean sunfish lives for around a century. And for what? When a female is mature, she lays around 300 million eggs in the open ocean and leaves them. Some get eaten, some never fertilized, and some get fertilized. The fertilized ones hatch into spike balls, and the depressing cycle continues. This thing that looks like a cross between a moth and a big fly is called cicada, and it sucks the whole life, literally. Whenever a rice-sized cicada nymph hatches from its egg, it drops to the ground. It digs around a foot under the soil and searches for a healthy root. When it finds one, it instantly latches to it. With its straw-like mouth, it pierces that root and starts sucking the sap. The days, weeks, months, and even the years come and go. But will it go anywhere? Nope. Maybe to the next root, but still sucking the sap. And how long will it do that? Well, its entire life almost. There are few different types of cicadas with different period cycles. This simply means how long they stay inside that dark ground. Some stay from 2 to 5 years, but the most famous ones stay for 13 and 17 years. I don't understand the obsession with the prime numbers, though. The annual ones are relatively lucky. They get to crawl out of that dark dungeon within a couple of years. But for the 13 and 17-year cicada, they stay in that dark prison for around a decade and a half. They just suck the root, molt every few years, and count the time like Senku, I guess. They usually molt 4 times before coming out. When they complete counting the years and the soil reaches around 64 degrees Fahrenheit, they slowly crawl out of that soil and stay in some solid base to molt one last time. They break their back, emerge out of the shell, and dry the wings for some time. It usually takes around a day. Then, they go in search of partners. But if the guy comes out at the wrong time, well, it wasted its whole life. And there are actually cases like these, which wake up on the 16th or 18th year. Those wrong timers are called stragglers. It's like you trained 17 years to propose a girl, and when you were ready, she was already married and she went to Mars. At least you have some other girls around. This poor guy has none. For the normal wakers, they instantly search for mates. There can be millions of cicadas producing super loud noise and searching for mates. Well, if you are freed from a room after 17 years, I bet you too would cry out loud. When they find the partner, they mate on branches or trees. The males mate with multiple females and die after reserve energy is finished. Females make cracks and scratches in the tree branches and lay around 20 eggs. They sometimes mate again and repeat the process until they lay around 500 eggs in total. And they die too. After around 2 months, the eggs hatch. The pale rice-like nymphs fall to the ground and the cycle continues. This is an immortal jellyfish, and it's not a fish. These are water bodies with 95% water. No brain, eyes, heart, bones, or any specialized respiratory system. Jellyfish are plankton. If you don't know, plankton are small creatures that cannot swim against water current and drift along with the current. The daily life of a jellyfish is a simple cycle. Flow with the ocean current, eat whatever you find, don't get eaten, and repeat. And of course, the mating. But we'll talk about that in another video. For now, let's focus on its life. When a jellyfish hatches from its egg, it kinda looks like a paramecium. With no swimming ability, it is constantly drifted by the current until it finds and attaches to a solid base. Now it forms a polyp form that looks like a hydra. If you don't know, these are both from the same family. Now these hydras wave their tentacles in hope of catching the other drifting planktons. If they don't catch any, they wait, and if they catch some, they eat them. Kinda like barnacles. They stay in the same place and repeat the same process for a very long time. With enough food, they start the cloning factory. They produce and detach dozens of juvenile medusa, and after some time, they turn into jellyfish. What do they do after that? Well, the same as usual. Drift with the water, try to stay away from sunfish and turtles, and eat other plankton including jellyfish. So yeah, these guys are cannibals. And talking about eating, they eat and sheet from the same place. Yup, a hole in the stomach area serves as both input and output for these automated creatures. They don't have friends or families, eat whatever falls in the tentacles, can't escape the predators, and drift their entire lives. Normal jellyfish live just around a year and end their monotone life. But this guy can't escape the depressing cycle, even if it wants to, which it can't want because it lacks a brain. When it's old or stressed, it reverts back to a polyp form and then starts the same boring life again, forever, or until some creature ends its misery. The mature females lay thousands of eggs, and the cycle continues. You all know rabbits, and most people like to cuddle this furry creature. It all may be true, but why is it on the list of this video? Well, I'm gonna tell you why. Rabbits are prey animals, and they're hardwired to fear almost everything in the environment. When a rabbit is born, it's hairless, blind, and deaf, and the fear starts from birth. It fears sounds and vibrations. A sudden sound can make it super stressed. But if the kid is overstressed or sick, the mother will eat it. If the mother is overstressed, well, she will eat another kid. So, the threat starts from the home itself. If the kid survives around a month in burrow, it's now able to move out, and the real problem begins now. Rabbits have lifespan of around 10 to 12 years, but they live just around 2 years in the wild. And what's the reason? Well, the predators. Rabbits are eaten by almost all carnivore animals. For reference, all these animals love rabbits, both from the land and skies. Sometimes, even the fish like bass and arowana eat them. So, not even the water is safe, and they live their entire life in a state of fear and stress. On top of that, they have neophobia, the fear of new things. They fear everything, even their own reflection in the mirror. If they see a flying leaf, they will get afraid. If there's a rock on the ground that wasn't there yesterday, well, they will get scared. Even a slight increase in wind speed will increase their heart rate to over 300, and they normally have a heart rate of around 200 beats per minute. If they don't chew grass enough, their teeth will kill them, and if they take too much time, another animal will eat them. So to maintain the population, evolution put them in high alert mode with high breeding rates. We already talked on how they became invasive in Australia. They mate continuously, and even the mating is short. Around a month later, half a dozen of blind and deaf kids are born, and the scary cycle continues. This guy is a Greenland shark, and these guys are the apex predators of the Arctic deep-sea ecosystem. They eat seals, fish, squids, and carcasses of whale and other mammals. They live in deep freezing water, and their metabolism is super slow. If a Greenland shark eats a seal weighing 50 pounds, it won't eat anything for at least around 6 months. If it finds and eats a chunk of a whale's carcass, it won't eat for a few more years. And what does it do in all that free time? Well, it just swims, or does nothing at all. And how long does this cycle continue? Well, over a few centuries at least. For example, this 5-meter guy is the oldest vertebrate on Earth, born in around 1620, just 4 years after Shakespeare's death. So basically, it's older than Isaac Newton, Blaise Pascal, or the United States. And it's been living in the dark waters for over 4 centuries now. And if the barely visible environment wasn't enough, a copepod parasite stays in its eyes and eats it from inside, damaging the vision completely in many cases. The scientists believe that the parasite glows in the dark and attracts prey for the shark. But having to change your eye for a Christmas light is a pain in the butt, I guess. They swim super slow with a speed of 1 foot per second. For comparison, humans walk with a speed of over 4 feet per second. Half a millennia long life, just hovering in the dark cold water, swimming like a snail, eating once a year, and the eyes stolen by a parasite. If it is not depressing, then what is? But the cycle